what I've been most pleasantly surprised about is the fact that this isn't a one-for-one adaptation.
It's such a weird, like, event to have such an incredible episode to be highly rated, but then off the back of that have all these unhappy people that worked on it. It's just kind of a...
And the fact that they're still able to churn it out in this quality, despite that, is just a testament to how talented the app staff are. But still, it's not okay. What did Zane watch? He watched an anime. What was it? Tell Sue.
Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is the podcast where we like to give reviews, talk about anime, and I've completely lost my trail of thought. I'm your host, Zane Taichou, captain of anime recommendations, and as always, I am joined by my besto friend, Susu Day.
My besto friendo.
We have a packed show this week. We're going to talk about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. We're going to talk about some of the drama that happened at Mappa and with JJK, and all sorts. So make sure to like, share, subscribe. But first of all, how are you, good sir?
I mean, it's we had the first actual frost of autumn today. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it, guys. I love the winter. I love the cold. So, and I had the fortune of I was had to be out of the house really early this morning to go and get like a fresh cut. So I was out at like 7:45 this morning, and it was just frosty and nice, and everyone was complaining about it, and I was like, "Yes, this is amazing."
Fresh cut on a frosty. Trying to think for third F. Frosty fresh day. No, I lost it. I tried.
Though I did like, because when I go to the same barbers all the time, but I very often have a different barber at that barber shop, because barber shops, they kind of like rotate through people.
Holidays happen, etc. Sick days.
Yeah. So honestly, the guy cut my hair today, really good. But I really should have I should have asked him to buy me dinner first, because he offered, like, he had a bit of time left, and he was like, do you want like a beard treatment and a face massage, like, free of charge? I was like,
ooh,
yeah, sure. As for that, and then he like led me back and he just gave me like a proper like massage my beard and my face and stuff like that, and I was like,
oh damn.
I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be this quite this intensive. I was like, are we going out? Are we dating now? Like,
getting to know each and every one of the pores in your face.
Yeah.
Wow.
But my beard feels amazing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's got a lot of texture to it. I like it. A lot of movement.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It's that time of year. It's not too hot to have a beard, so don't have to keep it quite so trimmed back.
We're kind of going into a grooming talk now, but this is perfect, like, beard season, isn't it? Like, I feel like the autumn, I'm kind of like, I'm just going to let the beard grow out a bit more than usual. Like, normally I like it a little tight to the face, sort of thing. But now, let's let it grow, get that length in. Good.
I think
shape.
that every single guy, like every single guy, will deny it, but there, I think that there is a mindset of, like, when it gets cold, you kind of think, should I just let my beard grow and have like a full Viking beard? Should I let it grow to the extent where I could put little metal beads and stuff in it, and just, you know what I mean?
I feel like it's perfect, like, lumberjack season. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just get like that flannel look, big beard, hair growth, like, eat pancakes.
Yeah, there's also the part of every guy who's, when their hair gets a little bit long, they're like, they just immediately think, if I let my hair grow a little bit longer, I could look like Aragorn.
Yeah, because that's the look we're all striving for, is either an Idris Elba or an Aragorn.
Yeah. So
no, perfect. I really wanted to talk about an anime I watched this week. I feel like I need a segment here now where it's just kind of like the anime.
What did Zane watch? What did Zane watch? He watched an anime. What was it? Tell Sue.
Taichou's Corner. Yeah, so I don't know if you remember from our like what to watch list, we picked out Kingdoms of Ruin or Ruin of Kingdoms.
We did, yes, we did.
So I was a couple of episodes dropped now, so I was like, I'll just binge a little bit of this. Let me see what it's like. Completely different from what I was expecting from the poster, because the poster's quite like elegant, like steampunky, and like he's got like a feather in his hand, and I'm thinking this is going to be like some high level thinking, like I couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah. It's a harem.
It's the best way I can describe it is, you remember the beginning of that one season of Attack on Titan where Eren had that dog in him and he was like, I'm just going to trample all over Marley and like anyone who stands in my way, you know, get wrecked.
Yeah.
That energy is exactly in this anime, because it is just like, oh my god, like when I think things get bad, this guy takes it to a whole nother level of like, I don't know, dog energy. Like it just,
he got that dog in him.
Yeah, it just, there's no stopping him. So the whole idea behind this is that it's about a race of witches and the race of humanity, and basically we've come to a crossroad where humans hunt witches. They don't like the idea of witches having the power over humans, even though witches have historically been there to help humans in any way they can. And
I bet that was as the result of a single group of powerful men who were all like, hey, just as a thought, before, you know, these people who've been really helpful to us, what if they turned on us?
Yeah, that's the bottom line of this. And so the king of the humans, he, you know, drums up this propaganda and stuff, and they hunt down the witches. Anyways, fast forward, there's a witch who has a human boy that she's raising, known as her apprentice. It's basically the MC, but as a 10-year-old. And basically they get captured. She is known as like a superior witch and such. So they put on like a real spectacle, the king does, I should say, and unalives her in front of a live crowd and stuff. But at the same time, it's the apprentice is like held down to watch it, because he's a human. So they're kind of like, this witch has tainted this boy and influenced him, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, I love her, don't do this to her, blah blah. And they make a spectacle of it. Anyways, he just goes off the rails. They imprison him. Fast forward 10 years, he breaks out of the prison and he just goes ham. Like, there's just no stopping this.
Are we talking like a murder revenge story?
Yes.
Is this vengeance at its finest?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, everyone talks about he's a human who knows magic and does magic. So it's like never seen or heard of before.
So no one knows to expect it.
Yeah, but what's crazy is he's not afraid to use a gun either. So like, one of
that meme is like, I'm a doctor, but he's got his like Glock.
It just reminds me of like in Jujutsu Kaisen, where, you know, Gojo and Geto are kind of like preparing for Toji, and he just walks around the corner with like a hand pistol.
Oh, and he just shoots.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just crazy. And like, one of the first thing he does when he breaks out is he shoots a bullet just randomly midair, and he uses his magic to enlarge it to the size of a building, so it just instantly crumbles like a block of buildings. You're just like, there is just no scope
Yeah, he's not
of what
he's
he's
not
capable
fucking around,
of.
is he? He's
Yeah.
you know what? That's that's moved up my list. That's for
That's
sure.
in like the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of the first episode. So yeah, if you feel like you missed out on the rumbling, here's a rumbling for you, I guess. Oh, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's start off with the bad and go into some good.
You want to get the bad stuff out of the way?
You do the bad, and then you follow up the medicine with a spoonful of like sugar, don't you? That's how they say.
That is what they say.
Mappa.
Yes.
Mappa, our senpai, our big, powerful, we love you for all the things you're doing. They've been naughty. They've been misbehaving.
Yeah. There's been loads of reports about the way Mappa have been treating staff lately, especially around some of the recent episodes of JJK Season 2. I'm just going to flicker through some of these. It's crazy, just because some of the animators have been, tweeting and making it known
massive tweet threads have existed, and it's mental. It's really very disheartening when we as a community have been really enjoying what they've been churning out.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're kind of like learning the cost of that.
Yeah. These work conditions sound horrendous at the moment. There was talks of staff walking out. There was even some tweets. I don't know if I've got it here. Yeah, so some animators have said that episode 17 of season 2, which is the Sukuna versus Maharaja fight, was 30% completed. Apparently 30% completed has been a term thrown around and some people have misread it. It's just that some aspects weren't completed as such as some of the animators wanted.
Kind of like when you have a regularly serialized manga or something and it comes out and you can see that they weren't able to completely polish the chapter. There'll be like some frames which are like very simple stuff.
I've got an example here to show. If you're listening to this, check out the YouTube version of this episode. So there is a section or a couple of frames that was shown. So, for example, maybe if I zoom in a little bit, that might help. So there's in the episode, Sukuna does a split kick, which kind of felt like out of nowhere. But on Twitter, you could see the animator post the full version, and it was a sort of combination of moves that followed up by the split kick. So it was like the last move in a set of a combo. So things like that, where that whole combo sequence is missed out, and sometimes it feels slightly jarring in the episode where suddenly certain things happen. Like there's a part where there's a whole plane that falls out of the sky in the episode. It adds to the drama of the fight. Yeah. There's no two ways about it. And the episode itself is, a 9.9 on IMDb. So it is a fantastic episode.
Yeah, but it's disheartening though, isn't it? It's when we're hearing about these like awful working conditions. I mean, through that thread of the first person in the screenshots, I read that apparently JJK Zero, the movie, was completed in like 4 months.
Yes.
And you look at how incredible the animation is, and honestly, credit to the animators, the credit to people who are working on it. But like 4 months to get something of that quality out, you can't imagine that was done without cost. there's also talk about how like half of the episodes are like they're literally like working down to the wire. They're like finishing the episodes like hours before they're due to actually air.
Yeah.
It's it's not good. Like we often hear a lot about burnout and like grind in like the games industry, like video games industry. How that's all being handled, and burnout is like the biggest factor in like a lot of people just quitting industries. You didn't I didn't expect to see it from Mappa.
Yeah.
But I think I said this in one of our group chats. I think that while Mappa has been churning out lots of really, really good stuff, I think that they got popular very, very quick. And I think that they've said yes too much.
Yeah.
They've continued to take, like, the execs have continued to say, yes, we can take on projects, and they're not really thinking about whether or not they should take those products. They're just like, this is just going to continue to skyrocket us in popularity. Because like, if I were to think of anything that I wanted an anime made of, I would immediately think I would want Mappa to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And stuff. And so that's worked in their favor. And the fact that they're still able to churn it out in this quality, despite that, is just a testament to how talented the app staff are. But still, it's not okay. Not okay at all.
I completely agree with you. It's like you said, they've managed to have some of the most talented animators work at that studio. The common thread I've seen throughout this is that the schedule is just not there, and it's just not on to, like you say, push people to these like deadlines and crunching in the hours in what's nearly impossible. JJK Zero in, what was it, 4 to 8 months?
Yeah,
that's mad. When normally a feature length of that caliber would have years. Yeah. So it's just crazy. And like you said, I've seen some stories, some articles and things to kind of say, they are switching between projects. I think with that JJK Zero story, they were working on that and Chainsaw Man. So there was a lot of kind of like jumping between. I think the particular episode is the one where he fights the swords demon. I can't think of the name. But
you mean the one we saw at MCM Comic Con?
Yes, that one. But yeah, I believe that there was so much to do there, and then of course go straight into the JJK movie. But yeah, it just, my heart goes out to the animators, of course, because they're the ones who bring the magic alive. And there's loads of breakdown videos on TikTok, on YouTube, on the process and things. Some of these animators are on Twitter. It's great to see some of their processes. I know a lot of people are following Vincent Chanzard, who worked a lot on that Sukuna fight. But yeah, I really hope that a change will happen at Mappa, and hopefully for other studios as well, because it's not just exclusive to Mappa, but Mappa seems to be
Mappa's in the spotlight, so there, of course. But this is going on in probably a lot of studios, in a lot of industries. It's like it's not uncommon.
Yeah, it's not uncommon, but like you said, they're in the spotlight because they've taken on so many, IPs that everyone loves. But it seems like these conditions are just unbearable. They're untenable. Yeah,
unsustainable. They're gonna, if they want to continue to churn out work of this quality, they're gonna need to start thinking more about the health of their staff, because they're the one at the end of the day. Like, I know that Mappa's execs have got their bottom line that they want to hit, but like they can't do that without the team that they've got. I mean, you could argue, we could just get new people in, but why would you want to get new people in when you've already got these exceptionally talented like artists.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's such a weird like event to have such an incredible episode to be highly rated, but then off the back of that have, you know, all these unhappy people that worked on it. It's just kind of a do you know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I feel like it's kind of like I really want to celebrate a great JJK episode, but at the same time
it mars it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't ignore the blood, sweat, and tears that really went into this. So yeah, it's crazy. On a lighter note, this Crunchyroll subbing.
Oh yeah, what was it like? Demonic Kitchen or something like that? No, Malevolent Kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah. So malevolent Kitchen. Yeah. We've got all the memes on that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Malevolent Kitchen.
Anything more you want to add to the Mappa story there?
I mean, ultimately, we as fans are kind of stuck in situations like this, because the first thought of a lot of people will be, well, I'm going to veto the show. I'm just not going to watch the show because of how they're treating their staff.
Mm-hmm.
But by not watching the show and reducing the numbers, the rating of the show, that also that doesn't really affect the execs. It only hurts the people who were working on the episodes. Yeah. Because then they have to have like layoffs and stuff like that because they're not making as much money, and the execs are not going to take a cut. No. They're not going to. So
no. Also,
it's a difficult situation to be in. It's like emotional blackmail.
Yeah, because for the fans of the manga, they want to see this animated, but the only way that these studios really take notice is DVD sales, which I know is not hugely popular in the West anymore, but in Japan, it's still the bread and butter of the industry. So, you know, that's why we haven't really had a Chainsaw Man season 2 just yet, because the Blu-ray sales weren't as desirable as they were expecting. So, yeah. There we go. I think that's the first time we've ever done some like serious topics.
I mean, usually there isn't anything too serious going on.
Yeah.
Like the serious stuff is usually going on in the community, not in the actual studios.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for like going off on a rant about how some people do this or some people do that in the community, but like, you know, it's never usually directed at the studios themselves. So and to be honest, guys, I'm all for eating the rich. Like, I love to take a bite out of these execs, absolutely would, but you know, I don't think we often have cause for discussing it naturally anyway on the show.
That's true. Yeah, interesting stuff. Hopefully, again, things will get better, and yeah, let's see what Mappa do.
Yeah, watch this space. Well, we can obviously update if there's any new news there. So.
There we go. Should we talk about Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, I would love to talk about Scott Pilgrim.
Excellent. So there was a brand new anime that came to Netflix called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This is an 8-episode mini-series as such. There's been a little bit of confusion about the studio behind this. So there is a studio called Science Saru, if I pronounced that correctly, which some people thought this was an American animation, when actually no, this is a Japanese studio who
this
also
is a historically anime series, studio.
Yeah. Who also worked on Devilman Crybaby, which is again a hugely popular little series. What were your thoughts on this?
Well, so I'm only 2 episodes in, but
Okay.
I'm already loving it so much. Like, I don't think it's ever been discussed on the show before, but I've always been a huge fan of the Scott Pilgrim graphic novels, the originals. So when I heard that we were getting some sort of like series, I was like, "This is going to be, here we go. This is going to be incredible."
Mm-hmm.
And the news only got better when you find out they're getting the original like voice cast from the live action adaptation, which may not have been the best movie in the world, but it was still a great watch. Oh, there we go. He's here. Mine are all downstairs. But it's like, but honestly, like when I first started watching it, like I was so blown away. Like how well they, because I thought, oh, it's just going to be like your classic like animation, but no, they've like, it's like literally like they've just torn the essence of the graphic novel into the animated worlds, and it's so well done. Like from sounds to like composition, like obviously there's only been a few like fights so far in episode what I've seen, and like the fights have been incredible, and what I've been most pleasantly surprised about is the fact that this isn't a 1-for-1 adaptation of the graphic novel series. This is going down going down a different route with the story. That something it's already like 2 episodes in, and something has already happened that didn't happen in the graphic novel. So I'm really interested to see how it goes, because if you'll get this reference, not some people might not. Do you know when Netflix put out the He-Man series?
Yes, Revelations.
They've done a He-Man's Revelations with this.
Go on.
Do you see it? Do you agree?
I do see it. Yes. Yeah.
It's such, and I'm here for it. I'm really enjoying seeing this. I'm looking to see this from a different perspective.
Yeah. I'm happy to go into spoilers. I'll put a spoilers in the title.
You can do spoilers of episode 1 and 2, but not episodes further than that. I will not accept those spoilers.
Okay, cool. No, that's great to hear, because so just kind of rewind on some of those talking points you had there. I really like this. This, like you said, really, the animation does an amazing job of complementing the manga style that we had. So, and they really ham up some of those anime tropes, you know, like running and shouting at each other and all sorts. And it really plays into it, and it's really cool. The voice cast is, like you said, it's amazing to have the live action voice cast back, because I think one of the things that really kind of connects with a lot of people is just how good that cast was for the live action movie.
It was really well chosen, wasn't it? And there's some big faces.
So yeah, and like some of them, it was the beginning of their careers, like Michael Cera, and I think Chris Evans had been around by then, but he hasn't really launched off the way.
Yeah, he was like doing like little, like he was doing like little like teen, like he was doing like jock roles, wasn't he?
Yeah, there's that. I think maybe The Losers. I can't remember if this is pre or post Fantastic Four, but yeah, it's everyone's really young at this stage. Anna Kendrick as well.
Yep. You've got Brie Larson.
Yeah. So again, it's amazing that entire cast came back to do the voice work, which is amazing. And I was really surprised how well some of them do at being a voice actor. Michael Cera as a like anime pro tag is amazing.
I couldn't hear it until I started watching it. I could not hear Michael Cera being the voice of Scott Pilgrim for the graphic novel character. I saw him as like he made a great Scott Pilgrim in the live action, but he had like he came with his like own like kind of like
awkward,
very trademark awkwardness with that.
Yeah,
he does such a good job voice acting Scott Pilgrim.
So much range in his voice as well, and delivery. Yeah. The delivery is, again, just feels almost like a 1-for-1 dub anime, like a really good dub anime. Going into spoilers a little bit, I was expecting this being a 1-for-1. So in my head, I was really excited for this to have some big bombastic like anime fights that I was familiar with. So the Matt Patel fight, the Lucas fight
Lucas
as well.
Lee.
Lucas Lee and stuff. I was expecting, and even with Gideon, the sword sequence from the movie. So I was expecting that. So like you said, the fact that at the end of the first episode, they take that all away and they're like, this is going to be a different thing altogether now. I was like, I don't know if I like that. Because I was expecting all of these fights, but in a big, bombastic, Trigger Studio style. But as I kind of went through it, I was like, I like where this story is going. I like that all the exes are having more screen time and more character development. Because I really like these characters now more than I thought I did.
Yeah, that's been great to see, because I think that's what the live action and that's what the graphic novels themselves were lacking a bit. Because even though the graphic novels are incredible and stuff like that, each Evil X only gets like a couple of like chapters, I guess, before they're no longer a part of the story anymore. Like they're just gone.
Yeah, that's it. They turn to coins.
Yeah. Whereas this time around, like episode 2, like that whole like was literally 50% of it was all about like the Evil X's, and it was Matthew Patel basically expressing his dissatisfaction with Gideon, because he basically found out that even though Gideon has said whoever defeats Scott Pilgrim gets Ramona. But obviously Ramona doesn't want any of them. And he's like, well, you lied to us because you said that she'd be with us. And then he's like, I think that the League of Eagle X's needs a new leader.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then there's this, and everyone agrees. And then there's this massive fight sequence between Gideon and Matt Patel, which had like a really unexpected ending as well.
A whole new like power struggle that, none of us really saw coming. I think, there is a lot of things in this they do kind of address and try to correct as well. So, for example, you'll probably see this later on. They address it in a very Scott Pilgrim way, but Scott Pilgrim dating a high schooler gets addressed, and
they address that really early on as well. And I'm really glad because I watched the movie before I read the graphic novels, and what I took away from after reading the graphic novels was this was not shown in the movie, that actually, even though Scott Pilgrim is meant to be the hero, he's actually a proper trash person.
Yeah,
he's a real like shitty guy. Like does a lot of things.
Yeah. And that's another part of this, I think, worth kind of just showing. Kotaku did this article about there being a little bit of a backlash on the anime. Some fans, again, went into this expecting a like-for-like from the manga or the graphic novel, which meant like a lot more exploration on some characters like Steven Stills and things. But again, that's not really that doesn't really take place in this version of the anime, because it's a completely different timeline. So again, it's kind of a an odd, I guess, set of expectations. Because again, I went into it expecting one thing, fans went into it expecting a different thing, and it delivers again a whole new storyline. Which again, I'm not too bothered about. It did give me a few jarring feelings about it to begin with, but that was just my own expectations. And I took time to reflect on that. Like, well, if it's a 1-to-1, I've already got a movie that I could watch, sort of thing. So it's not like I'm missing out on anything massively. You know, there's a movie, there's graphic novels, there's a video game series. How many times do I really need to see the same story retold, I guess?
And it's not even, and this isn't even a situation of like Netflix has gotten the permission as to make an adaptation. This is literally like Brian Lee O'Malley is one of the writers for the show. So this isn't a situation of someone taking it and making changes that they see fit. This is someone taking it and working with Brian Lee O'Malley. It's like the One Piece live action all over again. It's like the original writer has had a massive part in the actual conceptualization of this story. So I'm happy to see where it goes. Because you know, sometimes different is good.
Exactly. And I watched a few interviews as well because I wanted to get a feel of why is it made like this? And from the interviews, it seems that this was an opportunity to tell the story, but in a different way. And again, if they had this thought and they've never had a channel to maybe explore it, and then one eventually happens, that's cool. Like, you know, again, Final Fantasy VII is doing something very similar at the moment where they're using the opportunity for the remake to tell different types of stories with different types of characters. Not to say that this is Final Fantasy VII, but I kind of, after watching those interviews, I was like, okay, I think I can get on board with this now. But yeah, still great animation, still great fight sequences, and as I said before, some real good character moments as well.
Yeah, you've also got to I like to look at it in like situations like this as well. Like when Scott Pilgrim versus the World originally came out in like 2004. Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life came out in like 2004. So he would have been about in his late 20s. No, would he be in his late 20s? He's 44 now.
Is this the creator?
The creator. So right. He would have been much younger when he originally conceptualized the whole story. And I think that a lot of writers, they often they'll write something in their youth and then they'll look back on it when they've got like more experience and they're like, actually, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah.
Now, like, actually, I wrote this when I didn't have a full understanding of a lot of stuff, and actually I feel like these characters could have been better written, and this is an opportunity to do that, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah It's again, like the whole situation with knives and and really explore some other characters and some other things as well. I won't go into too much detail because again, I don't want to spoil it for you.
I'll kill you.
But yeah, I had a blast with this. I really did. And there's one fight sequence which will come up for you. It's all I'll say, it's a Lucas Lee fight, which is fantastic. And there's moments where I was like, this feels like it was done by Trigger, because it's just so bombastic and like outrageous and, you know, and all sorts. Plus Chris Evans just kills me with some of his one-liners. There's one where
already he's just doing so good when him and what's he called? I'm trying to remember his name now. The vegan
Brandon Routh as
Brandon. When they when Todd and they bump into each other at like as they're going to the meeting with the evil exes, and they're like just constantly competing with each other and stuff.
Yeah. And he talks about vegan edge.
Yeah.
It's that's good. I can't remember how they find out, but there's this part where Lucas finds out that he was meant to lose in a skateboarding challenge, like by falling off a rail, and he goes, "I would never lose like that." Like, what an idiot. So yeah, it's things like that makes me laugh. But yeah, it's really
like that's like flashback to like the actual graphic novel and to the movie, isn't it? Because Scott beats him by making him like do that massive crazy grind on a rail,
yeah.
And he gets too fast and he like just dies at the bottom, like he explodes.
Yeah. And of course it's on a movie set and all that jazz, because he has like all the 7 stuntmen, doesn't he, as almost like a shadow clone fight sequence.
I remember when we were like, this is when I lived up in Scotland still, and you came up to visit us once, is when the Pixel game had come out on Xbox, and we literally were just like multiplayer in that, and it's so much fun.
I've got that on the Switch now, because
I've got it on PS5. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Look at us fanboys.
So it's such a good game though. It's like literally like such a fun start to finish. Like it's like how people love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that recently came out.
Yeah, Shredder's Revenge.
And it's just like having a game like that you can just like plug in and play with your friends is like really fun.
It's so good, so good. I'm happy this is doing really well, because that's the other element of this. This is done really well on IMDb, on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it had like a certified fresh at one stage. So yeah, I'm really glad that this has really landed well with new and old fans alike, really.
I'm going to guess that the people who have expressed extreme dissatisfaction have used the term woke is broke at least several times.
Maybe
just out of just a guess,
maybe. Sat currently at an 8.0 out of 10.
Perfectly respectable. Respectable.
I think that's all I can say, really. Really like it. Really glad it's back. And I'd probably happily rewatch this. Oh, in that first episode, I got to mention this. His conversation with Ramona about Sonic the Hedgehog had me belly laughing.
So good.
I had no idea, but when I thought more about it, I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!"
It's like when they're walking home in the snow, and he brings up the other reference, and she's like, "Oh, is that a Sonic the Hedgehog reference?" He's like, "Is that the Sonic the Hedgehog reference?"
So yeah, fantastic. Any more or any other thoughts to mention?
Well, I've not finished it yet. So I don't really have much more to say about it, but I am, I'm super enjoying it. It's a nice change of pace. Mm-hmm. Hope to get it finished by the end of the weekend, maybe. But at this point, I've got nothing bad to say. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with it. Excellent. I think that they chose the perfect studio to do it as well.
Yes.
Studio Saru.
Amazing job. Amazing sound effects as well from video game reference, so you'll get more of those. And yeah, just glad that the cast came back. Glad the original creator was involved. Glad Edgar Wright is part of this as well as a producer. He directed the movie. Again, it's great to see. Oh, I can't say. There's cameos in this, which is fantastic.
Cool. Look forward to it. forward to it.
You will pop when you see/hear them. Excellent. Right. I think that's everything. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. And if you listen to this on your favorite podcast platform, please leave a like or a star rating, maybe even a comment, because that helps massively. I seen we're on the climb in Canada, so thank you to all of our Canadian listeners. We appreciate the love and support there. And,
I love maple syrup.
I love Canadian wrestlers, so there we go.
Honestly, Canada is like the better America.
Don't play favorites.
I'm pandering. If we suddenly get big in America, I'll be like, oh, Canada.
There wasn't a ton of news out of New York Anime NYC, so we'll see what news stuff comes out of that, and again, maybe we'll put a list together. But for the time being, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next episode. Peace.